He loaded them aboard Connex boxes, which would be shipped back by surface mail. Not surface mail, but aboard ship. And well, it'd be there shortly after we arrived back from Lee's period. I put some uniforms and some a little speaking I thought while I was there. I'm not going to mail them. I'm going to send them back and put lockers. And some odds and ends and different things that I want to take back. Yeah, sitting here thinking too much to say right now, so I think I'll pull one of y'all's sticks, sign off for a second, and come back in a little bit and see if I can put you down. Well, I went out for a short little walk down to the M Club to see what was on at the movie, and watched the Pink Panther cartoons and came back. Well, it is now Tuesday evening. I don't seem to have more to say this evening than I had last evening. I did sit down and write Steve and Sanford a letter, and I will be mailing that to you, to y'all to forward to them when you get their address. I enclosed in their envelope some cards with pictures of Nico that I bought up there. I'll be sending y'all some of them later, or bring them home with me. I'm looking forward to hearing from them and hearing all their new experiences and how they like Utah. I'm sure they must be somewhat elated with the new experiences of the mountains and the cool weather and the new job. I understood that Steve was I think he got to Chicago for school a couple weeks. And then I was rather surprised that Sanford went on up there during that period. Is he going to Chicago with him? I guess maybe you don't even know that. If not, she's staying by herself, I suppose. Today's been another quiet day. I didn't do too much all day long today. In fact, it's going to start slowing down even more, I suppose, until we actually leave. A little more information came in today that I'll be on the 6th flight, which would be about the 5th or 6th that I expected of October. How's Dora feeling? Is she still working for you on occasion on Fridays? Tell her hello for me. And looking forward to seeing her when I'm home. I've been thinking every day that showing my photograph will be coming back from my second trip to Tokyo, and I'm looking forward to seeing them. I hope they get me to see them. I took about 7 rolls of 35mm slides, 20 on each roll, and 2 rolls of movie film. So I guess it's probably not as many as the last time, but a little more selective, I hope. There's a lot of discussion of the men here that when we get back to the States, many of them are going to request DHQ and Comrade. Those abbreviations for basic allowance for quarters and commuter rations. The government will give you a check what it costs them to put you in a barracks and what it costs them to feed you. And then you can get an apartment on your own and put that money card back. I don't know, it sounds like it might be a good idea in some ways, in other ways not. It would be a good idea from the standpoint of having your own place to live, the privacy of your own bathroom and bedroom, and know what the spot is. Like in the barracks, you got the officers in the barracks, the master arms are always grinding over or calling someone's name out. And it'd take about 2 guys, or 2 or 3 guys to live together and pool their money and make get it better, a nice apartment. So it's something to consider. I don't know just what I will do. I guess I'll talk it over with somebody. But I don't know too many people that have the same interest as I have. Most people I know want to raise, have a lot of parties all the time, raise quite a Well, if I can find some other passive people like myself who like to have a quiet evening, easy evening for relaxing, occasionally have a party if I mean, I'll be alright. So we'll have to check it out when we get back to after the release here. They won't be authorizing any of that until after the release. Got a little bit of information news and kind of popping in my head. Just had a lot of people saying in the press gets on anyway. I know Dad was talking about in the last tape, you had to talk about things immediately and things about everything you talk about. Well, it seems like I've already talked about everything in front of me on the last tape, or the previous tape. And there doesn't seem to be too much in front of me right now to talk about, so I'm a little bit lost for words. I don't know whether I mentioned about before I went on a trip to Tokyo. Stephen Stanford mailed to me 4 little bunnies. They were plastic bunnies filled with liquid Kool-Aid. And he said for me to use the Kool-Aid in the little plastic bunnies to the coop. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to use the Kool-Aid or not. There's quite a bit of Kool-Aid in each bunny. And I don't drink that much. It'll take quite a while. I might just give the coop plastic bunny full of Kool-Aid. But I appreciate the fact that he did send them to me. And I've really been enjoying the little TV that I bought from Japan. I think it was a wise investment as far as that thing goes. It's probably not the most economical thing to buy with relationship to the TV screen size. The pictures I sent seem to be probably received by now. Show the little TV. It's rather unique and yet, I guess it's unique, that's all you can say about it. But I have enjoyed it a great deal. Because we do get several, well, all the programs are taped from the United States and fairly recent, so keep in contact somewhat. We'll have to talk about for a minute some things in front of me. I may have mentioned it before, but I made a Famajato calendar and hung on the wall, I guess about June. It's a piece of board about 3 foot long and about 3 inches wide. And just a FMAMJJASO, which is from February to October, the first letter of each month, vertically. And you pronounce it Famajato. But anyway, as each month progresses and passes, I have a black mark that comes down the side of the calendar. And we already passed 7 of the months. We're in the 8th month now. And it's survival interest. There's a lot of conversation anyway when people come into the office trying to figure out what it is for the first time. Then they realize from looking at the letters. Well, after quite a bit of study, they figure it out. Well, before I forget it, when I come home, don't be putting any articles in the paper about me coming home. Guess there's no particular reason for it, but I just rather not have any articles in the paper. Well, there don't seem that I have any more to add at this present time, so I'm going to finish the tape. And there's had another interruption, but anyway, finish the tape up and get the mail. And it seems like probably a longer tape to me than I've used before. And get it in the mail and be waiting for one from you all. So goodbye from this time. Hello, today is Thursday, the 14th of September, and it's about 8:25 in the evening. I went down to the M Club to watch the movie. It was a spy movie or something. And they didn't get too interested in that, so I came back to the office and decided to go ahead and make the tape to you all. In answer to your tape, I think it was 5 September. I was wondering, you mentioned about a small black stag that I had sent home with some Japanese writing on it. So that's the sake bag. Becky had sent that to me as a novelty she picked up somewhere at some foreign import there in Houston. I was afraid it was going to get dirty here, so I sent it back, I sent it on home. I was wondering, did you tell her it was from me to you all, or is what? I was happy to hear that the Buddha arrived safely, and I know that you must enjoy it because I enjoyed it a great deal, and I thought it would be nice possibly at some time to use as a table centerpiece when you have a Thanksgiving party over or something, and put the center of the table to serve refreshments around. I was quite surprised to hear that Sandy, maybe I may have heard it before, but didn't register that she was president of the Garden Club. And someone pretty active in it. I know y'all must have enjoyed the candid shots that she presented at the last meeting. I imagine the Georges are as confused, or were as confused, as Mr. George's boss. One time they're going to Colorado, then next they're not, and then they're on again. And they must have had some frustrating moments trying to decide what really was to happen. I'm happy to hear that they did successfully sell their home for what they wanted out of it, and so fast. I would agree with Dad that if you'd have known the Browns were in a marketing mood, but just as well to sell 7227 as the Georges selling theirs. But I'm happy for them, and being able to load it as fast as they could and go ahead and establish themselves in Colorado. How did Bill's send-off dinner come out in his preparation to go off to Baylor? Also concur with y'all on the views that better than the Browns and his grandparents live across the street and is to live in with them. I know with their kids, and the house is not really that big. It would really be a mess. Have you heard Steve's address yet? If so, please send it on so I can drop him a card or something. And his briar gone up. I was quite surprised to hear that they didn't. I guess there really wasn't any way to take him with him. But have he left yet? They must be having some nice weather there, and before too long they will have some very seasonal weather. Maybe by the time we get there, they'll be involved with some seasonal weather. I know they will have some later on, and we'll enjoy it a good deal. They probably both become expert snow skiers, and the prospective Steve Jr. may become quite a snow skier himself. I was quite surprised to hear that Mrs. Jones made a trip to Denver, or Salt Lake. I don't know which she was going to. Anyway, rather spur of the moment. I guess the whole thing is rather spur of the moment, but I'm glad she was able to make her trip up. Now, there's Willie's Pool Caucus, I guess you might be the proper term for the get-together, or else Willie's Talk-In. I must have been a nice occasion for everyone to get together and visit. I'm very happy that they'll still have the opportunity on occasion to get together for a small visit. Even though your pool caucus didn't turn out to be a pool game. But I don't imagine any of you have lost your knack or skill for the game yet. The chicken spaghetti, even though it was highly seasoned, did sound good to me. Speaking of highly seasoned, the last 2 days the mess hall had some red pepper fresh out of the garden. And I really enjoyed those. Of course, I left the mess hall with my mouth burning, but, well, I had a slight interruption. I believe I was talking about red peppers. But anyway, I have enjoyed them a great deal. I had a new taste, and this is probably just what I was needing for a change in taste. They're pretty good size. They're about 2 inches long and about a half inch in diameter. And very hot. I haven't been able to finish one yet for the dinner. I did take a handful and put them in my locker to have sort of as a reserve when they do quit serving them. MCB9's advance party did arrive last Friday night or Saturday morning. I forget now just when. But we were happy to see them, to say the least. They've started to work in now, or assimilate into the crowd, so to speak. And they've started, will tomorrow take over some of the facilities. They will take over the Ian Club management on Saturday. And to celebrate that event, MTV4's Ian Club manager is opening up the club, and everything will be free, including beer. So I imagine everyone will be blown away, so to speak, tomorrow night. I hate to see that, but when it's free beer, they'll just they do quite well by themselves on their own finances, so if someone can put in the bill, it's not going to work. This may be the last tape I'll make, possibly one more, because they're fixing to pack everything up before too long, and I want to mail the tape recorder and amplifier on home. It's going to be there when I get there. So possibly one more tape within a week I'll be making. So if you're making a tape, send it right away. Don't worry about sending more tapes. Just make some letters, because I will send stuff home. I haven't heard from Becky for quite a while. It seems like the last time I heard from her before she was in Denver, Colorado. I guess maybe she got back to Houston and fell in love with some young teacher or something, or principal. Maybe she's been real busy with school. I haven't had a chance to write. I did write her at times, and I may have her wrong address. She's living with her sister now. Dunlap Street somewhere. I don't know the number of it. I'd write her again, but I lost it somewhere. Well, it seems like this evening was full of us, and there's another one. But anyway, I assume Becky will write before too long anyway. Tell me what's happening. She did have a nice time in Colorado. I'm glad she was able to spend the time with her parents. Well, I've covered the notes on my page, and it's all goods and properties. Hasn't been too much going on. In fact, it's becoming even less and less all the time. But as things become less, it means we're getting closer to leaving. The latest scuttlebutt today was that MTV9 was becoming over with 2 flights a day. So you never know just what to believe or anything. And possibly we'll be getting out here before when I expected tonight on the 6th flight. If they come 2 a day, they'll probably be leaving here on the 4th or 3rd. Really no way of telling until they get here. So don't expect me until I call. Depending on the luck of their flight and the weather conditions and all that. And when they arrive, there's some real leave and the weather conditions and everything on our way back. So don't look for me until I call, and don't be expecting me at a particular time, so therefore you won't be worried. I got a bunch of my slides back yesterday. 3-year-olds and 20 that I took. Nico and Kit back from Brazil. come back before too long. In fact, they may be sending them back with female. If they do, they'll get there by the time I get back to the States. But they all feel real good this time on these pictures. They wanted, I was very disappointed. The first roll I got back, they were all bad except for 5. But these were all good. And newbies I got back as good. Tomorrow is payday. And I'm going to send my movie projector home. Several other odds here that I want to get out of the way before we leave. I guess by now you probably received some of the packages I sent as I returned to Tokyo. Well, you heard that interruption. So, it's, as I was saying, you probably have received the packages I sent from Tokyo. There were several boxes. I don't remember how many. The cigarette lighters. And if you got those already, you should have. They went SAM. They should be there by now. Besides the tape recorder and amplifier, I'll also be sending several packages of tape that I've managed to record while I've been there. I'll be putting most of my stuff in my footlocker that I've brought over, and I'll be going back by sea shipping with the rest of the battalion footlocker. It'll arrive in Fort Hueneme during our leave period. It should be there when we return. So the things I won't need until then, I'll be putting in the footlocker. All of that stuff will be over the other side. All the footlockers will be packed for B Company on the 16th and 17th, which will be Saturday and Sunday. So we'll be getting all that stuff out of the way. And that's an indication we're getting even closer. I mentioned I didn't have too much to do tomorrow, and then possibly the next day I'll be really busy. The 6-month evaluation report for seamen and seaman apprentice will be due on the 16th, and all those have been rushed in, so to speak, by the different crew leaders, and I'll have to be typing a finished copy of those. So I will be busy typing for 2 days solid, I would imagine. It has been in the past. Last April was that way anyway. And then before we go back to the States, or right after we get back, the class evaluations will be due, and have to type those up. And then it's so on and so forth as each month progresses. We have evaluation reports that we typed up. Beginning of the week, I took my tape recorder and went down to the airstrip and borrowed some electricity from the R&R center there, and using extension cords and put my recorder up close to the strip and made some recordings of jets taking off. I plan to incorporate these sounds with the movie pictures I have of them to provide a little interesting background to this film. Because they don't seem to have the same glamour or forcefulness as when you really see one take off. So maybe the sound will help. In my slack moments of not having too much to do, I've been enjoying reading some articles in the Harper's Magazine, such as What Keeps Nixon Running, the second coming of Martin Luther King, which is an unusual article, and also about the possibility of Chuck Percy of Illinois being a contender for the Republican nomination. Seems like a rather outstanding person who excelled like taking all evening to make this tape because of the interruptions I had. And I don't have too much, I've already said all the news I know, all the latest developments. So I think I'll ring off for now, and you'd drop me a line whenever anything comes up. But, as I said before, if you're making a tape, go ahead and send it, but don't be sending any more from now on, particularly after the 22nd, I mean the 18th or 19th. So I'll be mailing my tape deck and amplifier probably on the 24th or 25th. So I guess I'll say goodbye for now, and y'all take care, and keep me informed on what the latest developments are in Utah, and that's WPSI and everything else that's going on. So we'll be seeing you shortly, and goodbye for now. Well, today is the 17th of September, and it's Sunday afternoon. I don't imagine I will make it very far this afternoon on the tape because I've had nothing but interruptions so far in trying to organize an outline or anything to make it from. So we'll start out and see how far we get anyway. I will categorically make a reply to the tape that on the first side and on the second side. So I will try to answer and make comments on the two sides separately. Well, with the normal amount of interruptions I anticipated, I've now returned from Chow, and we had some real good charcoal steaks again this evening. And it's now 6 o'clock, and I'm back down at the office. The interruption mainly was Lieutenant Schroeder, which is MTB9's new C Company commander, was down here this afternoon writing a letter. So now he, I guess, has gone up to Chow, so I'll make the tape. It's been raining all day today, fairly hard, and not hard, just steady drizzle, making it real nasty outside. But it gives you something to expect now as monsoon season set in. Well, Dad decided to come first, so I'm real glad to hear that bowling is doing real well. And WPSI is planning on building it. Another big project in itself. The prospects of moving Nodi Rubber Company from Houston to bowling, I think is a very good idea. Because it really doesn't need to be located in Houston with the type business it is. It can be just as well out of the Houston area. Because most of the business is mail. I'm glad to get Steve and Sanford's address. I know they must be happy with their new duplex apartment. I imagine they've got many ideas of just what to do with it and how to decorate it. Mrs. Jones' trip to Salt Lake City, I'm glad that she went up there to stay with Sanford while Steve was in Denver. I know that Sanford was happy to have her with her. I'm interested to know just what it did cost for Breyer's fare up there. I didn't know there would be any difference between just shipping a dog or whether it was accompanied. But I assume because, a dog's a dog regardless, it doesn't fit up in the front seat anyway. But it'd be an interesting note to know what they really did charge for the dog. I'm happy the pictures all arrived. I don't really remember how many I sent, but it sounds to me like in the description that they all have arrived. I did mail my movie projector, probably it was on the 15th, which is last Friday. So it'll probably be coming in there in about a week. I will be mailing my tape recorder and amplifiers I had previously arranged on the last tape. We did back all of our good luck. I'll get into that later. I had mentioned Dan before, and he was concerned about where I was getting my haircut. I said I went down to the Goop Shop. Now, this is a barber shop which is run by the Navy Exchange, and it's up on the hill here. It's the R&R Center. It's under the offices of the Exchange, the regional Exchange man, and they have these Japanese workers come in and get haircuts. So it's plenty safe. I'm not going down to the village for get my throat cut or anything like that. The Patrol Patrol he was asking about in the M Club, as I mentioned before, particularly enjoyed the job, but Amy Keys has put me in a position to stand Patrol Patrol, and that is the only duty I stand. I don't make duty section lunches, and I don't have any other watches to stand. All I do is go down and patrol the drunk. It's really quite interesting sometimes to watch these people and to try to keep them from fighting. Also, just to, they have the movie down at the club. The chapel fell in, they can't show it there anymore. And they show the movie to the one side of the club. So it's entertaining to a point to watch the movie. But all in all, it's not bad duty, and you get it about every 8 days, which is not too bad. I'm happy that the Georges were able to come up for their send-off dinner. I'm glad they had a good time. I'm glad that you're going to look for tickets for the A&M game at Fort Worth. I would possibly like to see others, but it'd be best to wait until I get home just to see what the final schedule will be. You might decide to do something else on the other weekend. And I do for sure want to see one. I'm sorry to hear that Cookie's husband was killed in an accident. That's one thing you can't tell what happened. I don't remember specifically who he is, or even who Cookie is. But I do remember Virginia mentioning them quite a bit. With regards to Grandma Reel coming down from Illinois, I'm told, I would like to see them for a while, but I'd be home so short of a period of time anyway. I don't particularly want a lot of excess company there, and I imagine you all the same way. So if they can schedule a visit for a couple of days, beginning at the end of my stay, which is fine. I received a letter when they're talking about the Reels from Jane Wallace, Mary's daughter, and they seem to be all doing fine. And she was telling me about her getting ready to go, making plans to go to the University of California next year at Riverside, which is not too far from Naco. And I hope she gets in. It's a real fine school. In fact, the University of California is big. I'm glad that you enjoyed the music, Japanese music that I sent home. I plan to incorporate that music as the background music on the film that I've made. So it'll be interesting to see what it turns up when I finish the film. So that's all the notes I have, Dad, on your side. So now I'll start on Mom's side and work from there. Mom, you mentioned the fact that Judy's husband was still considering going to work for WCSI. I kind of agree with y'all's earlier statement. It's best that friends don't get involved in business. I really don't know too much about her husband, but maybe it'll work out just fine. It seems as though they put you in a position to hire him anyway, on the basis of friendship. So we'll have to see how it works out if he does decide to go to work. The boxes that arrived that you were talking about, the scrapbook that's in this last package is empty. I didn't put anything in it. I bought that book on the last trip to Tokyo. And I'm going to use that one particularly for the general Orient, Vietnam, came through without customs. I was wondering, has the other packages I've been sending, such as the projector and the China and everything, did they come through customs free? The China was supposed to be prepaid anyway. Well, it just had another interruption. But anyway, the China should have came without any customs at all. Possibly other things will have customs on them, but I hope not. Be sure to keep track of them and let me know what they are. I'm so happy that y'all enjoyed the slides of the chapel I designed. I really doubt that it'll ever be built. Probably a little too progressive or something a little nicer than people want to build and leave. The gospel calendar is progressing very well. In fact, it's down to the last inch, black mark, before we get into October. So, I've enjoyed making the calendar, and I'm glad it's coming close to an end. I'm quite surprised to hear that Mrs. Norris has taken upon herself to make a trip, particularly on a bus, with a gang of people. That's something I wouldn't even dreamed of that she would try. In fact, I didn't know she was that adventuresome. But I'm glad to hear that she is getting out and around. That will help her a great deal. I haven't been able to get a hold of Larry Milberger. He is out on detachment somewhere from his battalion. I don't know where, probably up at Dong Ha. That's where he was before when he came by. And he just returned to Dong Ha. So more than likely he's still up in that area, surveying. I haven't heard from Gary. I don't know. I guess the rascal got involved and busy or something. But for me, that's the way he wants to be. I'm happy that y'all had a nice time at the Gorman's Ranch. I know it must have been bumpy riding in the wagon, but I'm sure, as you said, a nice scenery and an enjoyable day. It was good news to hear that the mirror is hung. I know that it must add a great deal to the living room, and I'm anxious to see it. Maybe by the time I get home, it will be. I thought we'll try to straighten it up a little bit. I agree with you 100% that I think Leroy should redo the chair that he did. If it doesn't look right as far as the needle point. So there's no reason to pay for what he charges. You're going to know he's done enough and not get exactly what you want. He may have been hurt somewhat when he didn't call it in on the car decorating job. But no reason to do a bad job on what he did get. Well, now I've covered the two sides of y'all's tape. I guess I'll start the top two again from my angle. Anyway, I did finally hear from Becky, and I guess probably like Jerry, she's been extremely busy and getting settled in her new apartment. Well, at any rate, Becky's been extremely busy in getting settled in her new apartment and getting her room squared away at school, and all of her lesson plans and everything together and organized. And she was very apologetic for not writing sooner, but she's been real busy. And I can imagine she has been. Because everything was in storage until the day she got back from Colorado. And then get everything out of storage and move in. And her apartment wasn't available until the day school opened, which seemed to add complications to the whole situation. She is now living in an apartment at Chimney Rock, which is not too far from us, but a good ways, I guess. She said out closer to her school. So I'm glad for that anyway. All of my slides are otherwise from Tokyo, even the Japanese slides I sent. I was so afraid that the Japanese slides may be sent back by a female, and they wouldn't arrive until I got back in the States. But I'm glad they came through. They sent them on airmail at their expense. So that's more Japanese hospitality showing. But they all were real good on the last batch I got. In fact, the only bad roll was the first one I got back. I don't know, I guess I must have goofed on that particular roll. So now I took 136 flies in this last trip. I hope this tape doesn't seem too jumbled up because I'm getting some time. These people interrupting me. There's nothing I can do about it. But anyway, last Friday we packed, last Saturday, I packed my footlocker and we put them all in the company Connex box. And that will be going back my seed shipment and to be in for any when we return from our leave. So we're making step by step, getting closer to the final time we leave. You know, it's getting close when I mail my hi-fi equipment home, and I'll be mailing that for too long. Dad, it was good to hear, or it was good for you to point out to me, because I didn't remember, that WCSI has been in existence now for 1 year. At least September 6th, a year ago, you bought the land down there. And I extend you my congratulations for the very good job you've done. And I'm so happy that it has worked out as well as it has. And I do hope that y'all are able to find some land in the Bowling area to build a new home. This will be the last tape I'm going to make before I mail my recorder. I plan to mail it this week, on the 23rd or 24th or so. Just in case if you have another tape in the mail. If you don't worry about it. I'll still mail it anyway. But I've had a lot of fun making tapes on the recorder, and I'm sure that y'all have also. I've enjoyed hearing your tape. It's meant a great deal while I've been in. And have to keep it up when we get back to California because it's cheaper than telephone calls. But I probably there won't have the same privacy as I have here in making a tape. Well, I guess I will have my car out there and be able to. I was looking at a map today down at the Red Cross, and the distance from Houston to Salt Lake City and then back to Fort Wayne, California is going to add a considerable amount of miles on the trip. So we can still lay out our plan is going up to Salt Lake, I guess. It's going to take a lot of extra time now. I don't know whether it's going to be worth it or not. And we'll have to talk it out further when we get home. I just went outside, and it's still raining. I thought maybe I might go over to the brother and watch the movie tonight. I don't know whether it's going to be any good, but I might go over there and see what it is anyway. Well, it seems like I've run out about anything to say. I did go up to the USO this afternoon while Mr. Schroeder was in the office, and I couldn't tape. And played the piano a while. I enjoyed it a great deal. And there was a guy up there that was learning how to play a guitar and had no much sense to buy any music, so I showed him one of my books of music. I'll be able to buy another one when I get back to the States. So maybe it'll go to a good cause if others his music. I'm about as bad as Dad. I can't even talk about things in front of me because I've already talked about them before. So I guess I'll sign off for now and send the tape on to you all. And this will be the last tape. I'll be writing letters up until the time we leave. So I'll say goodbye for now and be looking for your next letter. And be seeing you very soon. Goodbye. This is the 3rd of March. And those are things I must have received last week. Now I'm down at the engineering office, working on the house plans, and I've come across some new ideas I wanted to discuss with you on tape. I also will be sending some little sketches see what develops. I would like you to take the sketches I send along with the comments and questions that I make to the builder and Warden, and see what he thinks about it. With contacted me the cost of the steel structure and the wood structure. I guess that's about the only way I can receive any advice on that. Would be, to ask you to ask them, because people here in the battalion are not familiar with the commercial cost of construction. You can see from the section that I've replaced wood structure with a stainless steel beam that runs the length of the den area and the living room area, and was supported on two columns, one at the fireplace and one at the kitchen, and then one at the dining room and one at the living room. The beams run between these two columns, and they hold up the roof, which will run the steel down to the walls, and have a wood decking, 3-inch wood decking, as pointed out in the section. Also, the air conditioning will be shot into the living room from a normal 8-foot ceiling height in the dining room, and then air conditioning will be carried along the upper rafter on the top of the ceiling as shown in this section into the den, and then there will be dropped down onto the seating area. I believe the zoning of the air conditioning is all that's necessary. You don't need to cool the whole room necessarily, just the area of activity, which will be around the fireplace grouping, and then under the pool table, and then at the coffee bar. I think these juxtapairs will sufficiently or adequately cool and heat the necessary areas of the room. The same thing will apply in the living room. The juxtapairs will be principal directions will be into the seating area. Also, I changed the covered portage area over the driveway. The structure's a little bit different there. I'm using brick columns instead of the traditional Georgian wooden columns. The fireplace is a single element to stand, and there'll be glass on the sides of the fireplace in the place of brick. The moose can be placed, or the caribou, can be placed on the brick of the fireplace. The antelope, deer, and other things can be hung on the side walls of the room. What I would like you to find out from the contractor is whether or not you're familiar with working with this type of construction when you go from steel to wood, and also whether he thinks it's feasible, so far as staying within the budget we previously discussed, to use steel in this manner. It will greatly simplify the structural system, and will do away with the scissor truss and combination of ordinary rafters, which tend to lead into complications so far as structure, and then join all that structure with the portico gets pretty complicated. So it'll be simpler to use the steel, and I think it'll A friend of mine's downstairs, and he should get it Monday sometime. They've asked if your son let him know some of the music that was in my footlocker. If the red book was in there, send it also. But if it wasn't, it's probably in the footlocker I left him for right here. I'd like to also for you probably have already sent it by this time, but the Toccata Fugue in D minor, which I believe is in the piano school. I'm now playing every Sunday services, I don't know whether temporarily or permanently, but at least up until the time the chaplain receives the paper letter from the state. The speaker hasn't arrived. It's due in sometime it's about the middle of the month. So I am playing now. It has a little electric reed organ, which is much better than the little pump reed organ we had last time. This electric organ belongs to MTB State, which we relieved, and they went south to Poyan, which is about 25 miles south of Maine. They left the organ here for us to use. Yeah, it's a very nice setup here. The camp is, I believe, real nice camp. In fact, it's much better camp than Camp Hoover in many ways. There's a lot more room on the base, and the huts are much further apart, so the ventilation will be better. The drafting office is real nice. We have 6 desks. Um, quite adequate. We have 6 drafting. And if I received all of our air equipment, we're fully equipped now with equipment to work with. Been kind of short on equipment up until this time. As it becomes convenient, I would like for you to send all the contents of the footlocker that I shipped home, with the exception of the blanket and sheet, which I will not need. But I'm not in a big rush. I'm just going to accept the. Well, to pick up where I left off, I'm not in any big rush or anything except for the hi-fi equipment. I'm anxiously waiting for that to arrive. I did receive the letter where you said that you mailed it, so I should be receiving it probably by the time you receive this tape. I've had several compliments on the Sumitomo calendar, and we enjoyed it very much as playing and drafting off itself. I hope it stays here. I don't know anybody will try to pick it up or not, but it is very attractive. Camp Hudson is actually 3 camps. There's NCB 62, State NCB, and NCB 4, and 30th NCR is Naval Construction Regiment, which is in charge of all the battalions in the country in this area. We've got quite a few people in this area. So I just got much bigger than Vancouver. We lot of activity in the office around it. I have to wait till everyone leaves to make the move. I just didn't want you to think I was feeling bad, but I'm not. I feel real good. I've been eating good, trying to cut down a little bit to lose some weight. But don't make success yet. I haven't shown it yet. I haven't heard from Steve or Jeffrey since I've been over here. I did receive a Valentine's card that they mailed on the 12th of February. But other than that, I haven't heard from them. I received a letter from Jerry Brown, I mentioned that, as is him. And also one from Jane and Mark Wallace. And I started to write Mark a letter, and I just have to finish that up and send it back to him. I sort of slipped my mind. But I try to get it off to him. He wants me to set a combat booth or something over here. America. I might get around to that. But I won't go out any particular way to find them. Usually get those at the trade center. I don't have anything to trade. Maybe some gas or pencils or something. I've decided that when I go on R&R, I'll go to Bangkok, Thailand. And I've put in the request trip to go in May. I'm hoping to get a second island, and I'll probably will go to Tokyo again. Possibly somewhere else, but right now, Bangkok and then Tokyo. Well, I don't seem to have too much to say this evening, so I think I'll ring off and go up and take a shower and go to bed. And then we take on in the morning. Should I get up in the morning with any new ideas, I'll put the ideas on here before I read it. But I'll be sending the drawings before too long. I haven't got them all ready yet. As soon as I get them squared away enough to make some sense, I'll send them on to you. I just do those sketches again. So I guess I'll say so long for now. You're all right and be good. Well, this is a turkey. As I played it back and it seemed to go for confusion, so I did make some real fast little sketches that you can overlay the plan over the one you have. Get an idea of what I'm talking about in the way of air conditioning and structures and steels and stuff. But I still will send some more drawings later. So, bye again, and y'all take it easy. Hi, today is the 17th of March, and it's 7 o'clock in the evening on Sunday. I just got back from going around the different exchanges this afternoon. I had quite a bit of trouble getting some Jeep. I put in a kit on Thursday for a Jeep, and it seems like they're trying to establish new policies now for checking out a Jeep, and it took a little while for them to finally get around to approving it. I finally got it approved today, a little afternoon, and I took Mr. Tombilski over to the Hilo pad where he was leaving for Camp Evans, and then he came back. He's going to come back tomorrow. Anyway, I took him over there, and 2:30, and then I had the Jeep from then on, and went to 327 Exchange, Hill 327, and down to the Air Force Exchange. Looking around, but primarily looking for a piece of paper for it. Yeah, they don't have any. So I'll try again later. Last night I tried to put a long distance Mars call through, and I was over to Mars Station, and the band was real weak when I was there. And after Philly, I decided not to fool with it, and then left. And I heard from some of the other guys who were there later saying they finally closed up because they couldn't get any communications at all. So I guess it was good I went ahead and left early. So that wasn't really early. It was about 12:30 when I left. Closer to 1, I guess. Had a pretty good week. I've been designing a new command post. Built out of lumber, out of 12 by 12 timbers, I guess you might call them, not lumber. And keep one floor of it underground, the second floor is above ground. Be pretty stout when we finish it. I enjoyed your last tape. A great deal. There's trying to receive my first dose that I mailed. It's supposed to be in a week and a half now. I finally received the full guide that Steve sent to me. It's a real fancy book. I was quite surprised that Sinclair would go to so much trouble to put one out. It's quite conclusive, I think, in fact, if you want to ever travel to the U.S., it would be an ideal book to look at before I decided on where I was going. It's a very handsome paperback. Now, for some of the guys who would like me to get Steve to send some more over here, so I'm going to write to ask him. He also sent a picture of Eric. I presume he was taken early in February. One of them is sitting in a chair with a pillow behind him. I guess in their apartment or somewhere. Real cute. I don't know who he's looking like. It looks like possibly more on the Jones side, but don't tell Steve. Supposed to do it himself. I hope by now everybody's back to normal and feeling better. Before I forget it, Dad, I'd like to wish you happy birthday. It's coming up. Probably by the time you receive this tape, it'll be your birthday. I hope Uchi's feeling better now. I think he said that she had some kind of hepatitis. I hope it's not contagious in her face. But I wouldn't, as I said before, don't take any chances on it. With her, she does have something that's contagious. It'd be best to put her to sleep and see. I have to let her to Beck's office or something. So she gets over it. I hope Mrs. LeBlue has some success in selling the house. I'm quite surprised to hear she was selling it already, so I think I'll have to really get a program and get the house prices right now. They're coming along little by little. I'm waiting for some questions to be answered that I've written to you about. I received the tape, and y'all said that, or Dad, you said you would put your comment in the letter, but I haven't received the letter yet. I received the tape 2 days ago, so I presume the letter will be coming before too long. I hope the gold situation is not going to affect the business much. I'm not sure what kind of a thing like that will do on the economy in the United States. Like the reports we get here, it's primarily international threat right now for gold. It didn't affect the U.S. dollar too much as far as the United States goes. But anything that affects the international situation usually affects the local situation. Possibly to be arrested before and get a detrimental effect in the president. Tomorrow I'll start working on a 500-man galley, which will be expanded into a 1,000-man galley possibly at a later date. And also the laundry, and some of the guys working on the laundry done. The weather here is, we're right on the Bay of Da Nang, and sure a lot better in temperature and nice cool breezes as compared to 327 last year. Enjoying it a great deal. I haven't been swimming. In fact, I think the beach is closed for swimming. I wouldn't want to go out there anyway. The current seems to be awfully heavy in undertows up in Galveston, even more so. You can see the water turning under as it recedes off of the sand. I took some moving pictures the other day, I guess it was probably Friday, of a large gunship out of the bay firing over into the mountains. I hope it comes out. So if you see those movies, I'll be sending them home before too long, whenever I finish the reel up. It's quieting the weapon fire. I don't know whether I mentioned it earlier or not, but I heard from Bernice George, and they are fine. And Bill's quite excited about going home and then this summer. Of course, it's a little ways off yet, but they were talking about it. They'll probably be going to summer school and then back to Baylor next fall. I will try to make another Mars call before too long, and possibly Wilco. But he gets through before you receive his tape. If so, I have some questions that I will ask with regards to the house. But it all depends on weather conditions and whether or not I get over to Mars Station. They broadcast here on every even day, which will be, you'll receive a phone call on every odd day. I try to schedule it as best as I can to call on a Saturday or Sunday. More than likely find both of you at home at that time. But don't stick around for that, so it's not that definite that I will be able to get through on those days. They have a large waiting list. If you're not lucky enough to get there at the right time, you won't get on the waiting list. Still way late. I've been playing the organ for the church services on Sunday and been enjoying it. The organ is electric this time. First nice, and it plays a little louder than the other pump organ. Of course, we're inside of a building this time. It makes the amplification a little easier because you don't have walls and sound to bounce off of. Don't know whether I'll be able to follow the second side up or not, but maybe I can. As the news rolled out, I can't think of too much to talk about. There hasn't been too much going on. I'm in the office more this time than I was last time. I don't get out anywhere, it seems like. In fact, I begin to wonder whether I'm ever going to get the exchange again. It's about a good ways from where we are compared to where we were last time, right out the back door. We have a small exchange here on the base that carries necessities like shaving cream and razor blades and things of this sort. Some candy and writing paper. The magazines. Essentially, there's not much to offer in the way of supplies. We had steak this evening, which is a typical Sunday evening style. Pretty good. I had a rare steak. Indeed rare. I think it warms on both sides. That is pretty good. I enjoyed it. And we had chocolate ice cream. There's different goodies to put on top of it. And fresh hot rolls. It seems like the movies we have here in the evenings are really good. And they were last year, I don't know whether we're on a different circuit and getting all the second-rate movies or what. We don't seem to get very many big-name movies. I don't go to the show in the evenings very much. Last year they had some fairly good movies. I've been down so long I don't recognize the names of them anymore. But then it's facilities for showing big good on the schedule last time. We showed them out of a chapel last time. This time they were out in the open, with a large screen, but they don't have any place to sit. Two benches that they usually pour on, they're filled up. You gotta carry your own chair. And if you don't have a chair, you're sort of about 2 feet without a paddle. You have to sit on the sand. And I don't particularly want to do that. There's enough sand around here that I have to sit on. I was really happy to hear about Steve's promotion and pay raise. I've written to them, congratulations on that. Maybe have to make them a tape. I don't know whether they'll answer it or not, but I'll go ahead and send them one anyway. I'm not really sure when I'll get around to it, but I'll do it before too long. They said the weather was real nice there in Salt Lake now. We're starting to warm up and become a little more compatible and more desirable. Nothing nicer than, I guess, mountain weather in the springtime. Yes, I could be surprised, but I'm not really. I guess that Bobby Kennedy's going to be running for the Democratic nomination. This guy is probably a good man for seat in Texas. He's, I think, a fairly brilliant person. He had some fairly good ideas. I was surprised that Romney backed out. I'm really glad he did, but I was again surprised. By the way, I was wondering if you could check on the absentee ballot registration. I imagine that should be coming up before regardless who could get the election, I don't suppose the war situation could change very much, given the amount of time, manpower, and materials we've expended over here. A different change in the paper seemed like in times of situation to a faster conclusion that even if the war stopped tomorrow, we'll have to spend another $1 billion here. A year probably just to rebuild the country, to get the people on their feet again. Put them on their feet. I don't think they really ever been on their feet. The conditions in which they've lived in for so long and so bad that the only thing they've got now is better than what they were before we came over. Mother enclosed a little spoon that I picked up while I was in Alaska. I was going to mail it in, but it seems like I forgot it. I enclosed it in this tape box. I couldn't remember whether Dad had brought one back to you from Alaska when he was there or not, so to take a chance on not having one, I went ahead and bought one. So you've got two now. Oh yeah, today's St. Patrick's Day. There wasn't anything happened here to indicate that you said talking on the radio station and mentioned the fact. It's kind of sort of leprechauns over here. We have several Icemen retired. One guy named McElrath, one like 7, who are EAs. And they kid them in the spirit of Patrick's Day about it. They both have very red hair. Really couldn't be honest. They don't speak with a brogue or anything, but McElrath said his mother and grandmother speak with a very heavy brogue. Even though they've been here for 2 generations. That McElrath has a college education, so I guess he picked up a different tone in his language when he was at college. Well, I guess I've run out of anything to say, so I'll rush this on over to the post office and get it the morning mail. So if y'all will take it easy and make me a tape back a little longer than this time than you were the last time. To get much shorter, you might as well just do it on one side. But you can probably get 2 tapes or buy a little longer tape. I do enjoy the music that you have been sending, Dad. They thought you were sending music tapes and a talking tape. I'm sure you tell Florence, Virginia hello for me. You said in your last tape that you had spent Sunday evening over at their house after church service. I'm glad y'all got together. And y'all started playing bridge yet with them. Y'all hope you had anyway. And if you see Hildebrand, tell them hello for me. Get together for 42 or something with them. So I'll be ringing off this time and say so long the next time. last night while I was practicing for the morning services. And the song was Jesus Savior Pilot Me. We sang it this morning, which I enjoyed. This afternoon we had a truck and went out to the exchanges, started out a dry run. I was still looking for the TAC, the tape recorder. A little better recorder than what I got now. I'd like to get one while I'm here. The one I have now, someone wants to buy, so use a little more money for the new one, but I'll get the money back on the old one. Anyway, I went to the exchanges, and there wasn't anything to be had. Everything was really low in stock, except for standard items like soap and stuff like this. They're waiting for a ship to come in. Whenever it gets in, get an abundance once again of all the unnecessary items. Just returned from dinner, we had barbecued steak. Unfortunately, the steak was the only thing fit to eat. It was good, but didn't have any vegetable. It was potatoes and gravy and bread and worn out salad. Generally, food's been pretty good. Just once in a while we have a bad day. Tonight was one of them, I guess. So I'm laying here in my hut right now on my bed, making my tape. I'll probably go on down to the office later on. I enjoyed all the tapes very much. I'm sorry it's just long since I had made one, but I've just been putting it off, writing letters instead, I guess. But I'll try to be a little more faithful in making them from now on. I didn't hear from Stephen Sanford this week. I heard from him last week. Everyone seems to be all right. I guess Steve's still working hard and enjoying his work. As we were driving around today, maybe we had such a dry run in the exchange. Went sightseeing, really, I guess. Quite unusual. The Vietnamese still all living like animals. And making some progress, I guess, as far as their living. But there are many more refugee-type structures being put up for them to move into. They're not much better than what they had before. In fact, most of them look pretty trashy. They're built from scrap that they've stolen or something. Sort of like denying urban renewal. I finished the plans for the galley this past week, and apparently they don't have in the budget for the camper building to build a galley of that sort, so they're going to take a Butler building and use that. It's a more expensive building, but they already have that extra building in the camp allotment as far as the first two buildings to be built. So I guess they're going to fill out the other plans I've completed, and we can start over this week. Just an idea for the galley. As I can see right now, it won't be adequate, but I'm not running the show here, so they'll have to live with what they got, I guess. The galley I drawn up wasn't that elaborate anything. It was to be built out of wood. And I guess they already used up the money on other structures in the camp. They feel like they wanted to use the money for other wood buildings, so they're going to use this Butler building for the galley because it has no other reason for no other use at this time, so they need the galley. All the exchange facilities have Vietnamese, I think it's like arcades, but where they sell Vietnamese goods, like the stuff I brought home last time. And they had a little ivory card in there. He tried to slip it in with his tape. But anyway, its meaning is happy days. So I was thinking whenever election time would come around, and you go to vote, you want a little pin down there and saying happy days in it again. So, in the spirit of the GOP. And maybe we might get Johnson Nixon also received all numbers in Progressive Architecture of Poland, Lux, and the AIA Journal this week, so I'm a little behind now in my reading. It's interesting to, more refreshing, I guess, might say, to get Progressive Architecture and AIA over here because you don't see any buildings really. All you see is dumps and trash houses. In fact, I haven't been off base too much, and when I go off the base, it's almost shocking again that I'm still in Vietnam. Because the base is rather tolerable, you know. I went to the exchange in a truck today instead of a Jeep, which is more of a glimpse. And bouncing around that truck all afternoon really tired me out. In fact, I didn't realize I was getting tired until I laid down here to make the tape. And I think I'll probably go on to bed before too long, and I didn't go down to the office tonight. And it starts fresh tomorrow. We did accomplish something. We today all chipped in $6 to buy a refrigerator. And bought a Tabisha, which is a Japanese small refrigerator. It holds 4 cases of soap. So it's a pretty good sized little refrigerator, and we've got it now in the office. This is our service tool. I guess we accomplished something worthwhile while we were gone. Finally buying the refrigerator at the first exchange we went to. We made all of the exchanges and came back and bought the refrigerator the first one. We were looking for one with a lock on it. Built in. And we couldn't find any, so we bought one without a lock. I guess we'll now the half and put a lock key on it. Well, I guess the bed did feel pretty good. I dozed off to sleep for about an hour. So that tape I read out, I'll turn it over and see how much I can put on the other side. There's hope that that's the beach out in front of our camp. And we men go out and swim on Sunday afternoon. We have lifeguards out there. If I like the saltwater better, I'd probably go out and swim with them. I don't. They do some of the most interesting shells over here. I didn't see last time, but here we are this time. We have more travelers. I have to send you some of them. They're real long curl shells. I'll be sending one to you and see what it looks like. It's quite interesting. Also, these thousands of sea dollars, very small sea dollars, don't get any bigger than a dime, but they were on the beach last time I was down there. It's really got warming up here now. I don't use electric blankets, but I've been enjoying the little fan that the French took the last time. I brought it back from the foot locker. It's getting out fan weather now. And it'll probably be fan weather from now on. Possibly before we go home, they probably start to tour again, but I doubt it. Probably still be warm. Everyone in the office is enjoying the good music that Kate Paul was in last night. And that's all the songs did arise, and we've really been enjoying that. And this old beat company was all Thatcher and Steve Sullivan and all the old people. But they're no longer in the battalion, so this is running out of beat company. We got a pretty good setup now in engineering. Fairly comfortable. I'm on my hot rod here locked up in a cabinet by my desk. And I've been spending most of my evenings down there listening to it, drawing, but this evening I haven't. Quite rarely. Well, I gotta go down to the office and sort out my new reefer. And then I'll come back and wind the tape up and get in the mail. Well, it returned to getting a cold. It was getting cold. The breeze seems to stop blowing tonight, so the fan will come ahead of, I think, real well tonight, keeping cool. But breeze will pick up late morning or afternoon and start blowing pretty good. Sometimes they blow all night, but you asked about the mosquitoes. We don't have too many here. I haven't noticed them anyway. I keep Hallmark greeting card that you said. I guess that's Mary Poppins inside. It was about there on the screen. Also received a letter to with the site plan down at Bowling. And the lot's laid out. The tree looks pretty good. We're likely to get the house plan finished and get some work started down there on the property. But as you say, you'll have to keep you busy getting the site prepared. I'll make a copy of the measurements and location of trees and everything. I'll have a copy of the site plan back to you. I won't be needing it over here. Then you might need it for reference. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you had a nice birthday and were able to celebrate it a little bit over at the Browns with your birthday cake. I know y'all went to have a good time for it. Sorry to hear the business fell off a little bit, but maybe it's just a slump and it'll be picking up again before too long. By the time the end of the 3 months come, it's also coming, I imagine they'll be planning something else again. Well, if you could send me Rick Carter's address, or his full name, I want to write to him and ask him to send me some Texas A&M stickers. They posted on what he talked about, reporting to the police about some people dumping trash, I presume, out of on Lover's Lane. I can't imagine someone driving all the way from another county and they could dump trash. Sort of a remote all the way place. For anybody that doesn't live around there anyway. I do hope the police department does do something about it. Because there's no place for dumping. I'm happy to hear that Brother Taylor called and was asking about you. I hope he does call us again sometime. I'm trying to write him a letter. And he wrote me one. Well, I told you about it earlier. And maybe if I keep writing him, he'll get on the stick and get something done about maybe writing some other servicemen. You can go through a little paper clipping about the license plate in Texas, LBJ and RFK. I guess that would be anything at a particular time to decide which license plate to buy, whether it's LBJ or RFK. Well, I guess I'll call it closed now and get this tape in the mail. Didn't have to run out of everything one day. I can't think of anything else to say. I'll be sure to get the tape in the morning now before I forget it again. I'll not forget it, but I'll make another tape here before too long. And I'll keep dropping a little note on the area. One reason I don't have too much to say, I guess, I'm writing too many small notes and have everything that's correct to talk about on tape. So I'll be saying so long for this time. Y'all take care of yourself. And see you talk to Steve Sabatel. Hello from me. Today is Sunday, the 7th of April. And it's been a beautiful Sunday afternoon today. The bay, a beautiful cast of blue. And shades of turquoise and it's almost really green. And the white caps are rolling in onto the shore. I had to watch it this afternoon down at the AC Duty Club and the Shore Patrol to look out for the drunks and help them make it back to their huts this afternoon. Thank goodness it was only for the afternoon from 2 o'clock until 5. Was off. But anyways, I was down there and there was a big driving with people. I guess the whole battalion must have been out in the water this afternoon. Several hundred people out there with floats and inner tubes and looked like Galveston Bay really without any limit. Looked rather nice. I'm sure they all had a good time. Next weekend I won't have the duty, maybe I'll join them. Down there. I don't like salt water particularly, as you all know. Try to go down around the sun, maybe get a little bit of suntan. don't get much chance for sometimes being in the office all the time. I received this tape today and enjoyed it very much with the chimes on it. And it sounded like a pretty good recording of the chimes. Also received the box with the coffee pot and other stuff in it. The cap opening bottle was broken and still on the fruit cake, so it ruined the fruit cake. I didn't need it anyway, but I like to have that. Also received the box of trash, and that's a big hit now. Everybody in the office enjoys the try that. One of them likes for your mother to send the recipe so you can have them made when you get home. Well, if you have time and you can remember to jot it down, and I'll give it to you. Seems like something else came. Oh yeah, the box of cookies. They were real good. They were a little bit broken up this time, but I assume rough handling. They were good just the same. I don't know if I've commented before or not on the Color TV. I remember you writing about it, and also on the tape, but I just never mentioned it before. I'm looking forward to getting home to enjoy that with you. And Steve did mention about, having the table out here. So he has written, I guess twice to me since the pool table. The last time he wrote, we were out cleaning out the garage and sweeping down the driveway and having spring cleaning. I guess they're getting spring fever. Probably spraying in the mountains the other night. I'm glad to hear that Aunt Hazel dropped in on you, but I'm sorry it was on the weekend and all the activities were happening. You always so tired you probably didn't really enjoy the visit. I received a letter from Aunt Hazel yesterday, and she mentioned that it did get over. I'm glad to hear that Glenn is going to get a credit. He's, I guess, deserving of it. He's fallen into a pretty good deal on that, I guess. Some deals happen to everybody, I guess. Your mother, you mentioned about the wisteria and the flowers in the yard were starting to bloom and look nice. I can imagine they do. The wisteria probably getting pretty large now. And it's probably real pretty. Sounds like the azaleas are not doing it quite as well as they should be. Seems like they've had about one good year of blooming there a couple of years ago, and that's been it. So maybe they'll come around again next year. Glad to hear that Galma is feeling better and able to get around a little faster now. Your experiences at the Tokyo Gardens, I'm so happy that you were able to go. I'm glad that Sumitomo is still showing you around a little bit. I know that they enjoy taking you. And how did you like Sukiyaki? I guess is what it is. Sukiyaki or Sukiyaki or something like that. I know I enjoyed it, but it has a little different taste to it, so maybe you didn't really like it. What did Daddy? You mentioned you ordered Sukiyaki. I'm glad that you and the Howards went out to dinner. Of course, I really did have a lot of activity that weekend with Tomo and Monsanto Chemical. It adds a little taste to your life and keeps you busy, that's for sure. I too was shocked with President Johnson's address. I'm sure everybody else was, but I'm not really saddened to the fact that he's not going to run again. More than probably it's better that he didn't run. The house plans are coming along. I try to work on them a little bit every day. Seems like I get further behind every day because I'm constantly making little bitty changes. But I'll get it out someday. I'm glad to hear that Jerry's baby came. I'm sorry it's a boy. He was so hoped it was a boy. But I'm sure that they just happy with a girl for the first time. Good to hear that the contractor was pleased with the plans that I've sent so far. We'll be sending some more shortly to comment on. Dad, how did the Bull Lake Civic Club meeting come out? Any new developments in that area? It's good to hear that business is doing well, Dad. don't mind working overtime, that's for sure. Are you still considering expanding the shop facilities? Your deal with the Nutty Rubber and the delinquent account, I'm glad they finally paid up. It was a rather neat way of getting them to pay, but a lot easier than a lawsuit. I don't remember meeting Mr. Amito in Japan, but possibly that was the man I met, because at that time he had informed me he was coming to the United States. It was the same one I talked to tonight. Sorry to hear that Gamaliel is not improving as we had hoped that she would. But if we can convince her to keep her sugar down, I'm sure she'll get well faster. Good to hear that May and Lloyd and Gerald will be down. I hope they do make it. It has been a long time since they've been down, and I'm sure they will enjoy themselves. I've enjoyed Gerald's tape his record that I taped before I came over. I play it once in a while. I haven't tried to make a phone call, so don't be looking for me to call. I'll just surprise you someday, because the Mars station is not that regular on when they can broadcast. Weather conditions and sunspots from the sun and a lot of interference with broadcasting. Well, I'm sorry to hear that relative brought that kid over, but I can sympathize with you on what the kid was doing. For goodness sake, I would have allowed my child to go into someone's home and do that. Sort of forward for someone to assume that they can let a kid go into a strange home and act like that. But that type of attitude is one of the big problems we have now in the country. The flowers and things we were making at the Garden Club meeting sounds interesting, and probably they are quite pretty. I don't know what to do with them. They exhibit flowers, do you wear them, or exactly what do you do with the flowers? Next Sunday is Easter Sunday, and Brigade, which is down the street from us, will be having sunrise services. I hope to be able to get up in time to make it down there for those. And then we will have our standard services at 9 o'clock Sunday morning here on our base. The bugles that you put in the box with my coffee pot and etc. are real good. In fact, send a box of those every once in a while would be good. You know, you can make in the trash up. Also, the corn nuts, I think they were, or puffed corns, those are good too. In fact, I've put on 5 pounds of juice and all the geoducks to rise here this week. They seem to all come at one time. I was beginning to get a little bit worried about the coffee pot and other stuff, but they finally came through. I guess it came by female. The trash came by Sam. I guess, well, you sent it all, Sam, but that's still space available. If they don't have room, I'll put it on the boat. But I guess I had room for the trash that came out all over the same week. Also, your tape, I think you mailed it on the 3rd, and I got it here on the 7th. That's a 4-day service. That's not too bad. The galley plans that I mentioned to you earlier, I completed. I have to do some of them over again because they decided instead of using wood, they're going to use a Butler-type building. So I'm in the process now of redrawing some of the foundation work, and all the elevations have to be changed to a Butler building. They couldn't afford to do this in a civilian corporation after final drawings are finished to go back and redo them. With lack of leadership in the Secretariat, I think that they can't make proper decisions at the proper time. One of the reasons the government is costing so much money to run. operations officer we have, I'm surprised we don't get anything done. This afternoon, after I went down and had to watch the infant, I came back and took a shower and put on my civilian clothes and came down to the office to listen to the tape again and make a few notes and then make a tape back. I was to meet a person, a man at 7 o'clock at the chapel to work on some special music that he wants to sing next Sunday. So as I was going down there, I noticed the duty section was musking again. I forgot all about it. I dashed back to the hut, put on my uniform, and dashed down there. And it was late, but they excused me being I came late anyway. So then I went on to the chapel and did practice. I think he's going to sing the Ivory Palace next Sunday. And it might be pretty nice. It'll be something different anyway. I'm glad to see there's some interest being generated. Maybe we'll get a quartet workshop or something. What to do on that. Received a letter this week from, I don't mean a letter, I mean an invitation this week from John Munson. He's getting married to apparently a fairly wealthy girl because she has an address on Willowwick, which is in River Oaks. So, quite like Francis Vince, he's marrying on the 25th of April, which is Steve's birthday. I've written a letter to him, and I'll have to get it all to him in the morning. I don't think he's been going to this girl very long. It seems that last time I was home, he didn't have anybody in particular in mind. That's October. That's not very long, but I guess through our pictures, you have to take it or leave it. Before I go to Bangkok, I have to write Barton Nelson, who's a friend up at A&M where we got Uki. His wife's parents are in Bangkok as missionaries, and I'll write them and tell them I'm going to be going to Bangkok in June, and I'd like to see them or meet them anyway, and maybe they can give me a few pointers how to get around in Thailand. So it seems like everywhere you go in the world, there's going to be somebody you know or know of. When we were back in the States, there was a noontime bowling league, and I bowled on it for a while, and then I quit. But anyway, the bowling league ended up in second place, and so I received a trophy. I've got it boxed up, and we'll try to mail it this week, and get it on home to you, see what it looks like. So it's my first trophy, I guess, I've ever won. But I didn't really deserve it, I don't think. I didn't finish out the season with them, but because I was on the original team, they gave me a trophy. As a result of all of Martin Luther King being shot, they've discontinued all television and radio broadcasting except for his music. Quite frankly, I just care less. The music sounds pretty good compared to some of the other stuff they have on there during the day. I hate to hear that King was shot, but I don't think we'll miss him necessarily. I think of any man that believes in what he believes in getting shot for it. But he was causing and stirring up a lot of trouble. He wasn't letting time take its course. The events and let it happen. He was forcing things and pushing it, I think. When you get back to the States, if I have to carry a gun around for my own protection, like today's old West in Texas. I hate to see it come to that. The Negroes continue to stir up trouble. And as they continue to try to cause trouble, I'm sure there will be trouble. One thing I think they seem not to understand the fact that much of their rioting is really more damaging to their cause than it is helping it. I know it's creating more hatred toward them. I hope they understand it in time. There's doubt in my mind they're going to get hurt the other way. And by the same token, I think it's time that the white people face up to the fact that the colored people have been under tremendous social pressure for a long time. And for that matter, Indians, Spanish, Italians, Portuguese, everyone in some way has been under social pressures. Even the white folks under different economic social pressures. So everyone has to accept certain things, I think, and live with it, which is something hard to believe for some people. Same thing happens in the military. What if you had all chiefs and no Indians? Well, you can't have all top guys and no lower classes in the society. Somebody has to do the dirty work. And those who can fight to the top, more power to them. The others stay at their own level and do their own work. I'm glad that you sent the pool table on out to Steve. I'm a little sorry, too, because now you won't have anything to pass your time with over at the office. But when you get into the new home, you'll have one right and have it more convenient. Also, you tell Paul and Mr. Sears and everyone hello for me. Hope they're doing okay now. And how's Joe getting along? Is he off crutches or back full steam now? Or what is the situation? If you should sell the house, what are your plans? Are you going to move into an apartment, to a trailer house, or just what? I hate to think of you selling the house before you get the other one built. Or at least under contract on the process of building. It's hard to tell. It may be a year now or more before you actually get under construction and get close to it. It looks like I've done better on this case and just about to run out. So I guess I'll be saying so long for this time, and do write when you get time, and I'll try to drop a few more notes here and there as I have the time and as I think of things of interest. That is tonight, another week is going around. Today is April the 20th, and tomorrow we are planning a big party for the F3 office, which is the engineering office, and being director on the beach, we'll have a beach party. We'll have barbecue stuff. And cold drinks, and people will, I guess, will go down swimming tomorrow afternoon. I'll be down there for the steak. I don't know whether I'll go swimming or not. I still don't particularly like saltwater. I'm real happy that the Spencer's had a nice visit with y'all while they were there during the Easter vacation. I thought possibly that they would stay longer than they did. Best I can tell, they were there about a week. About. I'm happy that Gerald and his wife were able to make it down and enjoyed the tasting y'all made very much. And we were able to get them all in on it. I hope they had a nice time and enjoyed visiting around seeing the area. I know that it's probably been a long time since y'all saw anywhere around Houston. Probably a lot of things that you didn't realize were going on. Instead of metropolitan area. I'm rather enjoyed the Astrodome. I would imagine they were quite impressed, even though there probably didn't realize a baseball game going on. Sorry that Gerald had to leave early and go back for a previous engagement with his combo. And I imagine he probably got caught up, not caught up, but got back in the swing from 42 with them being there. So I guess we'll have to begin with Leroy and Ada now and play some more. Glad to hear that Bernice was in Houston, but sorry that the circumstances did have to come. I know that's kind of nice visit, and I'm glad they're having a fairly good adjustment in Iowa. I did receive a package from them of cookies and stuff, and it's real good. I hope I mentioned it before, and you're able to thank her for me again. The track recipe you sent, I give to Jerry's son, and he was very happy to get it, so I'm sure the first time you get a chance at home, you'll have some made. Glad you finally got hold of Steve, and he was in charge of the East Side Center for the church. I think that's probably what he'll enjoy even more when Eric gets a little older. Maybe next year out looking for Easter eggs. I don't think there's any worry about Eric's weight necessarily because Steve was light for a long time. I'm just thankful that Eric's not anemic or sickly as Steve was. Sorry to hear that Grandma is having trouble with her diet. I don't know how that is. But maybe she's done it long enough to keep her weight down to get well. Thanks for mailing the letter on to Archie. I have his address now. I'll send him a tape and ask him to put some more music on because we have really enjoyed the tape he sent before. I guess possibly the time he spent in the service did set him back a little bit as far as school goes, and he's happy to now take that credit, probably due to revision of the curriculum since he left the university. But I'm sure he will in due time. I'm glad the bowling trophy came through in good fashion. I guess he didn't mention about it being damaged, so I assume it didn't get damaged. I was very lucky there. Most of the trophies were broken on shipment on the way over here. Mine and just a few others were still in one piece. So if it back it to the States in one piece, we were pretty lucky on that. I agree that it's not too wise to keep the house until the other one has been built because of the capital tie-up. But I'm sure when you do sell this one and move into an apartment, it's probably quite comfortable. But this is probably a little inconvenient to move in and then move out again. But well worth it. We enjoyed the pictures you sent of the property and the location of the trees. It looked actually real nice here in the summertime. And it looked like a real wintry setting in the wintertime with all the leaves off all the trees. Enjoyed the pictures of Grandpa and Steve playing with Eric. Looked real good, in fact. It's like Eric giving Dad a lot of attention there with must be really enjoying himself. I have your little address card that I sent to you made in the States. I have 2 boxes of them, and I'll probably end up sending you one of the boxes. I just stuck a few into the tape, so I'll better send you all of them that way, and save postage on big boxes. But I had 1,000 of these made, so they'll last for quite a while. And it is convenient. Hasn't been too much happening around here that I can think of at all. I haven't received the package you mentioned sending last week, or the week before Easter. I'm sure it will come through, though, for too long. Another batch of packages came in today. So we're not hurting for things to eat right now. Yeah, 2 men got 2 large boxes of cookies, so we'll hold over for a while. I've been eating so much, I cut down to 1 meal a day, but still not doing too well on a diet. I enjoyed the tape you sent, I guess it was right before Easter. Spencer was there and Gerald playing the piano. I was hoping possibly that he and his wife would sing or something. I guess maybe she's not musically inclined this week to sing. With the beach party being scheduled tomorrow, I don't imagine there'll be too much work going on here in the office. Because we have church on Sunday morning and clean up the office for inspection at 11 o'clock and then we quit work 12:45. And during the normal week, normal Sunday, we don't do too much work. So I imagine with the party planning and preparation, everybody will just show up more or less. That's why they have it on Sunday, don't have to wait the regular work day. I'm sure everybody's looking forward to it. I am. Just get together on the beach and have some steak. Well, there doesn't seem to be too much news on the big local scene of today. I haven't been off those too much lately. I went over the first of the week over to 11th Motor Transport Unit, see where they're working on the galley and the drainage system over there. There's a lot of it progressing. Coming along good, I guess. I haven't been to the exchange as much this time as we had the opportunity last time because of the close proximity of the 327 exchange to our camp. But I've managed to go there several times since we arrived. The stock in the exchanges is not too good this time. It seems to be quite inadequately supplied. They've got plenty of this standard soap toothbrushes in this store, which I guess that's sort of a priority item that they have plenty of. But due to the new currency regulations and we're trying to stop the outflow of gold, I suppose, that's how it works. They have curtailed. They're ordering these large supplies. So I guess in an attempt to stop this outflow of gold, they've cut back on tape recorders, cameras. In fact, they haven't had any decent cameras in the exchange since we arrived. They also are expecting to put on in May a limit on the amount of posted money orders you can buy per month, a maximum of $200. There's been on the black market over here, so they're trying to curtail that. But the crooked people managed to get around the regulations imposed by the government. They ought to just save the paperwork to begin with. Seems like the area is recovering quite well from the Tet offensive. I don't think Da Nang was hit as hard as possibly some of the other major areas in Vietnam. I'm sure there were lots of things going on here, but there doesn't seem to be too much destruction. There's a lot of refugees in the area, which hopefully is good. You really can't tell who's a refugee and who's not unless you catch match on them. I guess I've got to find John Munson and inspect his new wife a wedding gift. I've had a little trouble in deciding just what to get them. I don't know what they need. John is interested in sailing. So possibly I can find something in that line. But I'm looking now through an exchange catalog, which we can find items that haven't sent directly to the States. So if I come up with something from that, I might go ahead and buy it. More than likely, I'll wait till I go to Bangkok and buy something there. If it was in a lot cheaper, and probably something rather unique. Or if I don't find anything here, I'll spend you some money. But that's kind of passing the buck. But I said, see if y'all can pick out something for me. It'll be a little bit late for the wedding, but better late than never, I suppose. Yesterday and today, it was real nice weather. It cleared off, rather decent skies, very nice breezes. This afternoon, got some real strong breezes and almost blowing wind from the bay. It's clouded up, and I think it's probably rain tomorrow. But that has rained since we've been here, and it'd be nice to get a shower. It really just gushed in for a while. In fact, I thought for a while I might tear off the tin off the roof, but it didn't. I don't know whether I mentioned it earlier or not, but I'm reworking the galley that I drew first to use metal building instead of wood. Made by Pasco building. There will be wood added on for some side wings for storage and other sorts, but primarily metal. I'm reworking the plans to use for those type buildings. Probably take another week to finish those drawings up. Well, I can't seem to think of too much news. I've done pretty good, I guess, tape as far as news. But I guess it'd be best to get this tape in the mail instead of sitting around another day or two trying to think of something else to put on. So, it's getting late. I'll go up and go to bed. Possibly look at a magazine or something. And then put this in the mail in the morning as I go to breakfast. And I'll do that kind of tape and let you know how the party turned out and how the galleys come in along later on next week. I've been enjoying your all tapes and letters, so keep them coming, and I'll say so long for now. So he came back this past week, asking the price for me a small organ while he was in Okinawa. And he found that a National 61 key organ cost about $103. So I think I'm going to invest in that. It sounds like a pretty good deal. I mean, it couldn't be too bad. It could be a keyboard to play with. And have Mrs. Jones, if you will, buy it for me when he goes to Okinawa in about a week or 2 weeks. Then I can plug it into my amplifier and play it, and my earphones off of the speakers, and provide a little outside music for myself. So I just thought I'd let you know about that, the possible development in the future. We'll have to wait and see exactly what does come up. Possibly when Mr. Jones goes to Okinawa, he'll be able to find another organ. I wouldn't mind spending at least maybe $100 more for one with a little more versatility. I have the slightest idea what a $103 organ would be. It could be too. Possibly some very basic sounds and do something. So I guess I'll say I'll ring all this time now, but then something else pops into my head. So I'll be talking to you later. Well, something else did pop into my head. I would like to see if you could find at the drugstore or at some office supply what they call a document binder. It's a plastic thing that fits into a ring notebook that you can put typed papers in or something of this sort. It's clear plastic that covers the papers and has holes on one side to fit a ring notebook. If possible, I'd like to send at least 25 of these. They're real good for putting pictures in that you send because they do stick together or they don't hit any humidity pretty high. And this would protect the pictures quite a bit. And I can also put other little odds and ends that I want to say in them. So if it's not too much trouble, I would appreciate very much if you would be able to find some for me. So I guess now I'm not out of tape, so probably nothing else will pop into my head. So I'll say so long for this time again. Good afternoon. Today is April the 8th, and happy birthday to your mother. It's Sunday afternoon, and I'm down at the office once again making a tape. I received your tape yesterday. Well, it was Sunday before Sunday that you all made in the garden making. And we got a great deal. It was a nice long tape and had lots of information on it. It probably took you quite a while to make. I'm happy that you all were able to go to bowling for the big barbecue. It sounded like a lot of fun. And I think you should get out as much as you possibly can and enjoy some of these activities. Well, I stopped for a minute there to see how the recording was coming out. It was a strong enough signal on the tape. And it seemed to be pretty good for just to hear. I know you must have enjoyed the singing cadet at church on Sunday. I'm curious to know whether you made it down to Jones Hall or not for the performance. I'll say shame on you if you didn't, because I'm sure it must have been good there also. I'm glad that Mr. and Mrs. Phillips were able to come up and go to church with you on Sunday. I know they must have enjoyed it, so it's probably not the first time they've listened to the concert during the Sundays in the singing cadet. I agree that you ought to replace Joe. It's not being as productive as you should be, because there's no sense paying him the salary you're obviously paying him and not getting the work desired from him. The print that I will be sending you of the house as time goes on are just interim reports, so to speak, on the progress I'm making on the plan. coming along slow but sure on the house plan. Try to spend as much time as I can on them in the evening. But it seems to take time and come in a little bit slow getting started and then I taper off, so to speak, and I don't get too much done. But they are coming along pretty well. Sorry to hear that Scott's eye is getting weaker, you said. It's the eye that's getting weaker, the one that wasn't operated on. If it was, possibly the other eye is getting stronger, and she is only thinking that her eye is getting weaker. And actually, it's the same as it was, that she's been able to see better out of the other eye. Anyway, I hope that's the case instead of getting weaker altogether. I did write them a letter yesterday, or the day before, hoping to hear from them soon. I haven't heard from them. Well, I heard from them over the week she got out of the hospital. You were mentioning the fact that you were listening to some of my old tapes. Don't spend so much time listening to all the old ones. Well, get more time out in the evening. Go to another barbecue or something. Enjoy yourself while you have good health and get out and enjoy things. I'm glad the temperature and the weather has been so nice in Houston. I know it probably is nice this time of the year in the spring. Quite a contrast to the snow and things that you're having in Salt Lake. I know the Salt Lake kids, his wife and kids, are enjoying the nice cool weather and the snow they're having in Salt Lake. And I do hope Steve had snow on his birthday. It would have been engaging to him. But I personally wouldn't want snow on my birthday. But being in February, I'm not going to care about it if I'm in a climate for snow. But I'm glad they're enjoying themselves, and I know you're looking forward to Sanford coming down and skiing with Eric. I too am looking forward to them being able to come down. Well, they quite obviously didn't make it through on the Mars call the other day. It's quite disturbing and quite frustrating to sit over there and wait for a couple hours to get through. And then when you finally make contact with the state, they have some SWAT car tracking a special services office somewhere running and setting up so much interference that they couldn't copy our phone path. But I guess so goes the hobby shops and special services. I know the Mars man in San Diego said that they used to run the SWAT car tracks all the time. They were having constant interference with Mars station, so they finally limited to the SWAT car track operators to 2 hours a day in the evening from, as you say, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And it so happened with my luck, I called during those 2 hours, and someone was using the track. With it being so much trouble making a Mars call and causing so much frustration on my part and your part when I can't get through, I think I just won't make any more of them. In fact, I'd rather have the tape and listen to them more at one time and get more on them, and you don't have the whole world listening to you talking. So probably just won't mess with you anymore. Sorry to hear, Mother, that you were sick after eating the barbecue and the chocolate pie. But I'm sure you must have enjoyed it while it was going anyway. But just be more conscientious of your diet and things that you eat, and you probably can enjoy food more than that stuff. You probably feel like Grandma Real now. Watch your diet. But I know you will. Happy to hear that Steve called and everyone was okay. I did find the Savings Bond book. I feel real bad on it now that I didn't look before, but I did have it in my checkbook. It didn't occur to me that I had it there. But when you said you remember giving it to me, then it dawned on me that I did have it. So please forgive me to put you all the trouble looking for it all day. I hope Annie, Sandra, and the new baby made it by. Still haven't heard from Jerry. I guess I'll just have to write him and talk about it. Even if you're not writing me, let me know about the baby. Probably pretty busy. Virginia for sure did pull a boo-boo, didn't she, about getting up on holiday? I know I used to get up on Sunday early. We don't get a Sunday off necessarily. We get to sleep an hour later. It means we'll be able to sleep in once in a while. I'm glad she was able to stop by and have coffee with you one morning anyway. Sorry you weren't able to go to the Bailey's dinner party. Hopefully next time you'll be more available. But I'm sure you had some fun at the barbecue. Anyway, they might have had sympathy over Bailey's anyway. If it's going to get worse than barbecue. I hope this football strike is over or near an end. Because it could be pretty bad, but we allow it to continue very long. I hope Mrs. LeVoux is having some luck in selling the house, but I hope she doesn't sell it out from under you right away. As I said before, the house plans are coming along very well, but due to be a little slower than I want to. When I get through making the tape, I'll get back on the house plans this afternoon. But I decided I better make the tape this afternoon before later on there'll probably be people coming down to the office to write letters and things. So I want to get it out of the way. Dad, I hope you can get some more help down at the office before long. I mean, it's really pathetic that there's a job for somebody to work and there's no one to fill it. And you hear so much about how short jobs are. Yeah, okay. It seems like more people are wanting to visit. Education, without the moving. Apparently, that's all I got. And because fewer and fewer people want to really get out and do some work. So, but I do hope you find somebody before too long. Possibly, and if you have to, go ahead and hire a colored man. See what he does. Yeah, and what part of the paper on my office is showing it. I believe I haven't looked at the basement very close. I know that you're under F3, engineering, operations. I don't know. We didn't have an article on the last basement that I sent to you. That's probably the reason you couldn't find it. There's anybody in the office that wants to write one this time. And just about to do something like that. We were supposed to get an article every week. But this year, they just don't care what they're going to do right now. There hasn't been anyone writing. This week we will have one. Well, then they'll be trying to go ahead and write. I'll have an article this week. The phonogram will be coming out before too long. I know tomorrow we scheduled to go down on the beach and take pictures of everybody in the office and group pictures somehow. We talked about everyone standing out in the water with their jeans on with a picture and climbing around on a bunker with a picture made. We don't know yet what we're going to do. We're trying to be off the collar, I guess, and just be more interesting the other way. Thank you again, Mom, for recording the times. They did come out a little bit better this time. Sorry you had to get into so much trouble to do it. Your voice did sound better, Mother, on the Amtex. You sounded really tired or something on the school because of the Amtex. Sometimes the voice sounds almost like you. Real good. Well, there's not too much trouble. How to use the Amtex when you have the opportunity. Of course, when you're in bowling, it'd be best to use a little recorder. But whatever's convenient, you feel like more comfortable using it. Best, really. It started out to be a very nice day here today. Past week has been rather cloudy. The probability of showers was quite high, but we didn't take the advantage of it. We had a few sprinkles from a misting rain, but not enough to really say it was raining. The ground is just wet. But it can rain quite a bit on the sand and beaches and not so. Rainfall in that has been off quite a bit from last year. Especially there's some concern about the water table in Vietnam. We've had some affected it yet. I'm sure it won't for quite a while, but there was some discussion how little rain is there. Anyway, I tried to clear up a little bit today. I feel like a overcast here tonight. You can see across the bay to Marble Mountain and Monkey Mountain. There's a slight haze overcast section defining eastern Los Angeles. The beach is rather nice. The tide is up and the waves are rolling in just like that. I believe it was Thursday. We had a tremendous wind. And it really was white caps all across the bay. Well, not only at the shore, but out deep. So it really was picking up the field, so to speak. We didn't have a party this afternoon, as we did last weekend, but I'm hoping we will have another one before too long, because everyone did have a nice time. And I know I did. I enjoyed it very much. I think we break out a little black, something, I guess, from being out in the sun that afternoon. It's cleared up now. But I didn't sunburn, thank goodness. Back then, didn't even get a tan, but started out enough, I guess, to get a sunburn. Would like to spend more time on the beach. It seems like by the time we get off work in the evening, it's not very encouraging to go down there. Some of the guys do, but it's kind of late to go down swimming in the water. I'm finally making all the revisions on the galley to the point it's starting to look like a galley again. And it's taking a little more time. I'm working with a metal building, which is similar to the Butler building. And it takes a little time to figure out all the drawings. It's not like starting with a new building. It's not like a remodeling job where you have a building existing and you have to build to it. The client is starting to sweat money, which I guess it should. I don't know, possibly they're cutting down the defense budget, but I don't think they really are. But anyway, I have to cut out a